Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. Appreciate you guys for joining us again today. Today we got something a little different. No film room on this episode, but we have a very special episode for you guys, joined by new Pittsburgh Steelers running back Alfonzo Graham. Alfonso, how you doing, man? How was OTAs? And appreciate you jumping on and talk some ball with us.
Great, blessed to be on here. I'm doing great. Living the dream. OTA's been great. Just learning a lot. Taking a lot of coaching in and just adjusting.
Okay, yeah, it was definitely awesome to hear you making some noise. I wanted to reach out because I haven't been able to be at OTAs, but just talking with Noah, my co-host on All Steelers, and then talking to some of the other guys that have been there every day. I've been hearing some rave reviews of you in that running back battle. So I'm excited to get to see you. Hopefully I'll be there for at least a couple of days of training camp, get to see you in person. But first off, I want to talk a little bit about, your journey to the league, man. I feel like, you got one of the more, I guess, unique tales that I really can recall for even a Steeler or anybody. You went to, I think it was 3 or 4 different colleges, if I'm correct, right?
Right, correct.
It was like Arizona Western, Independence, Fullerton, and then, you go to Morgan State the last 2 years. Your first year there, you ran for over 500 yards. Your last season in college, you went for over 1,000. Extremely productive in your time there. Take us through a little bit about your journey, just leading all the way through your college years.
Coming out of high school, I was not really good on grades, so I had to take the junior college route. Freshman year went to Arizona Western. Dealt with some adversity things there, as far as the whole JUCO league in Arizona getting shut down. So that made me transfer to Independence Community College. Then due to played the spring there, receive a couple offers. Then due to coaches changes, I transferred to Fullerton Community College in California. Did a great thing there. Got my AA degree there. 2020 COVID happened. A lot of recruiting got messed up. So I just took my talents back home to Morgan State. Then just coming out of Morgan State, I dealt with some adversity there too, as far as being ineligible coming in my junior year, coming from junior college. Couldn't control some things. They said they couldn't accept a certain amount of junior college credits, and I had to miss the first 5 games of my junior year. So I only played 6 games there. Then last year, my senior year, everything was smooth and great. I got to play a whole season, graduated with my bachelor's degree, finished with a 3.0 GPA. So it was really great.
Man, that's awesome. It's crazy how everybody's journey to the league is different. You know what I'm saying? I talked to a lot of prospects, just over the last couple of draft cycles since I've been doing this. Just all the adversity that you guys, especially you, kind of had to go through to get the chance to play at, the highest level. I wanted to ask you a little bit about, you kind of, even though you missed the first handful of games, I guess it was your junior season at Morgan State, you were still getting touches really out the gate. So I'm assuming it seemed like they were anxious to get you on the field. And then I was kind of looking up some numbers. I mean, your final game that season against Georgetown, you carried the ball 9 times for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. Was that final game against Georgetown, was that kind of a stepping stone for you, a little bit of preview of things to come? I'm sure that you were pretty anxious to get back on the field the next year, right?
Yes, because actually that was the most carries that I received that year. So I was finally got to once I become a starter, this gonna be the norm right here, 100-yard games. So once I did that, I was just ready for next season.
Yeah, I know. I was sitting there looking at some of the numbers. I mean, I think you averaged 9 yards a carry, and after that 100-yard game, I'm sure that they were pretty anxious to get you the rock a little bit more the following season. But yeah, man, that's awesome stuff. I do want to talk a little bit about, OTAs. What's your first impression? I know, because you're from Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your first impression just kind of being in Pittsburgh, getting the chance, to kind of compete at this level? What's the, the first couple weeks, as a professional running back, what's that like for you?
It actually was great. Coming here, when I first got here for my rookie mini camp, I just felt like the culture, like, yeah, I can fit this culture. Like I love this culture here. Great spirit, competitive. No one man above nobody. One thing that Coach Tomlin that really stick with me that he said is that doesn't by any means it doesn't matter like how you got here. Like it doesn't matter how you got here, undrafted, drafted. Like he not gonna treat you no different. Everybody got the same chance of making a team. So that's one thing that stuck with me. Just the culture, man. It's just a great culture. And I just adapted quick.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I've gotten the chance to talk to, a bunch of guys really, at the combine or when they first get drafted to the Steelers. And, you know, asking them that one of the things I have to ask is like, what's your first impression of Mike Tomlin? And like, that's what you're saying about, how he treats everybody the same. It's kind of been something that's been echoed to me through a multitude of different guys. You know what I'm saying? And I think that as a head coach, I think that's really important, being able to relate to, all of your players. Like you said, your journey is completely different than, everybody else on the team. And, everybody, is going to get the chance to compete. And, speaking of competing, I have to ask about you made headlines. I think it was on the last day of OTAs. You challenging Minkah Fitzpatrick. Obviously, everybody listening to this interview is extremely familiar with Minkah, but take me a little bit through, kind of how that all went down and how everything played out.
We was doing a tackling drill, not tackling the drill, just a tag off drill.
Mm-hmm.
Because we not in pass, so it was just tag off. So the picture is kind of funny because like he actually just tagged out to me, and you feel me? But it wasn't no contact and none of that. Just I was just being a competitor. I did a drill like 3 times. I did 3 good reps. And I just wanted to challenge myself. With the greatest safety in the game right now. So I just try my hand and say, let me get Mika, let me see where my game at, just to see things that I got to work on. How do I make the move? How can I make my move better off of somebody that's a veteran and understanding the game and how he reading players and how they run. So, just that one rep, that probably can help me. And when I look at the film and see whereas though I could have made my move better. But no, it was a great rep, great team rep, just it was a great rep.
Now, did you get the chance to talk with Minkah after? I'm curious on his reaction because I know it sounds like you're a super competitive dude, and I know that Minkah's a competitive dude. So how did that? Was there any trash talk or anything like that afterwards?
Nah, not really because honestly, like we not in pass or anything, so like I didn't really look at it as that as a big deal. So
Right.
I didn't really get like chop like talking to him yet because nobody really know like the competitor I am yet because we not in pairs. So it's a lot of things that you can't show what you can do or compete a certain way because we're not having contact. So I haven't really talked to him yet, but we communicate here and there, but I haven't really talked about that yet.
Gotcha. No, I know, like you said, not being in pads, man, especially for a running back, I'm just looking at some of your numbers too, before we jumped on here, kind of combing through these. I mean, you ran for 1,142 yards last season, but over half of those came after contact. I mean, that's for a guy that's only listed like 5'9", 185, 190. Not sure what you're playing at right now, but that's a pretty big number, and that's definitely a box that a lot of people, draft evaluators, scouts, and stuff like that, look for. What does that say about you? Your ability to like make guys miss, create those yards after contact, being able to, create something kind of out of nothing.
One of my mottos is I always go by is I'm a fearless runner. I know I'm small. So a lot of guys that look at me as a small runner feel as though they just can run through me. But my ability to make you miss and sometimes run through contact and my finishing ability, how tough I run the ball, can shock some people and make me come off a missed tackle. So that's always been my motto and just my mentality is just be fearless. Be smart runner, vision. Just whatever comes, that's what comes with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. When I was on the YouTube rabbit hole, I watched like 30, 45 minutes of everything I could find on YouTube. And that was one thing that kind of surprised me. I'm like, man, because I was expecting, when I read, once you signed for the tryout and then, they signed you to the 90-man roster, I was like, all right, I gotta go do some research. I started doing some research, man. I was expecting to see like, pure speed. Cause when you see guys that are like 5'9", 185, like listed type of guys, you're expecting them to be just like all speed, nothing else normally. And I was like, man, this dude's got a little pop to it, man. He's running guys over. He's running through tackles. So I definitely like to see that. And definitely landed you a spot on the roster. So I'm excited to get to see you run training camp, preseason, stuff like that. So I want to talk a little bit about your, relationship with Coach Eddie Faulkner. How has that been, getting the chance to work with him so far?
No, you teaching the game in a great way. We still building our bond day by day, getting to know each other better. So that's the only thing right now. He's a great coach, helping me understand the lingo and setting the foundation of the offense. I really like clicking on quick to the offense. So that's one thing that I want to give him flowers for, is the way that he's coaching the game and helping me understand it. So, but we growing our bond every day. He's a great coach, great man, just a great guy.
Okay. Now, I know every coach, has their own little quirks or things that they, really prioritize, pay a lot of attention to. Is there one thing that Coach Faulkner, really harps on the running backs on? Like, I mean, every running backs coach is always going to be preaching like a ton of like ball security stuff, right? Like, is there anything one specific that, he's kind of been harping on that's really stuck with you?
Just details, detail and everything as far as the plays, knowing what you're doing, and just finishing everything that you do on the field. Just that's one of the things, details.
Okay. Now I know you said you're already having, no trouble like picking up on the offense, and I think I kind of can see a little bit why. Just because the Steelers, I think they were third in the entire NFL last year in zone rushing plays. And I was sitting there combing through some numbers. Almost all of your plays last season, according to Pro Football Focus, were on like zone concept runs. Is that so? You guys ran a ton of zone at Morgan State, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so were you guys more like inside zone, outside zone specific?
Inside zone, a lot of inside zone, some outside zone, but really I did a lot of inside zone.
Okay, now can you take me through just like what's the day one install or like main coaching points that you guys, from a running back perspective, on inside zone? Let's just say like you're in the gun, like offset, whatever. Like what are some of the coaching points? Because I know a lot of my subscribers, they're film junkies just like me, so we're looking to kind of learn things through kind of a pro running back lens.
Just your alignment, how you lining up. Your first read, as far as like first man play side of who you're reading or that goes towards the run. And just reading your blocks. That's one thing that we also do in scheme runs. But that's mostly all it. Just knowing your alignment, making sure your depth right when you're lining up. Making sure you got your eyes on the right read key, as far as on the run side that we're going towards.
Okay. Now I wanted to ask too a little bit about, I already mentioned, that big game that you had your junior season. Also, like during your senior season, I think you had a 200-yard game against Norfolk. Like, what's that like? When you got one of those just banger games rolling, where you're running for like 150, 200 yards. Like, what's that zone like for you?
Man, it's just a good feeling. Like you can feel that you're in the rhythm. Back to back big plays, explosive plays. Just. And then you come to the end of the game, you got 200 yards. Well, throughout the game, I didn't even know like I was rushing for that many yards, but it just felt good. You can feel it like you in that zone that you heating up right now.
I got you. Now, when you were coming up, obviously, a football junkie like the rest of us, but did you watch a lot of like NFL or college ball growing up?
Yes, I watch a lot of college ball and a lot of NFL growing up. Yes.
Okay. Now, is there a specific runner that you tried to like patent your game after, or was there guys that you kind of took that from, like while you were trying to, kind of come up?
Yeah. So Chris Johnson is one of my all-time favorite players because like I want to be that guy like that can score anytime on the field. Make home run hitters. 90-yard touchdowns. Just also Saquon Barkley. Because even though he built bigger than me, but I always look at it like our lower body is built the same as far as like how his explosive runs and how he's smart with the ball. He can run with the ball. And also one person that I really like as far as like patience and how he control the game and make everybody play his speed is Le'Veon Bell. That's one thing that I always liked. It. Them three, they was always my three favorite runners as far as speed, power, and speed. Well, power and speed as far as what Saquon Barkley, and vision and speed and home run ability with Chris Johnson. That just and Le'Veon Bell, he just bring the patience to the game and vision. That's was always three combos that I always looked at myself that I can bring to the table as a running back.
Yeah, and I see that. I see that contact balance. You mentioned Saquon and that lower body being able to just run through tackles, stay on his feet. I see some of that, in your game as well. Just being able to, really break off some big runs. I don't know how much a lot of people know about this, but like 18 of your runs last season alone went for 15 or more yards. So I mean, that you talk about home run ability, man. Like that's the type of, splash plays. And honestly, those explosive plays on the ground is a little bit about like what the Steelers have kind of been missing in the run game. Like even at last year, over the second half of the season, they ran the ball incredibly efficient. But they're still kind of looking for a little bit more pop. And that was one of the things I think, you can probably bring to the group. Talk a little bit more about, watching Le'Veon. Like, were you a specific fan of a team, or were you just really focusing in on like running backs? And then what was your, you mentioned the patience with Le'Veon. Like, was there anything else stuck out like with him as a receiver? Cause I know you got the chance to catch some balls last year too.
But yes, he definitely had great hands in the passing game and, catching out of the backfield in the screen game. That's also one thing that I missed out on that I can bring to the table. But I know, I'm gonna be honest. I was a Ravens fan growing up.
I figured that.
I'm from Baltimore. Of course, I was a Ravens fan. No, I know at the end of the day it's a rival, but it's football. At the end of the day, I love all football. So I used to watch Steelers games too. I watched Le'Veon Bell. And yeah, that was one of the things that really stuck out to me: his vision, pass catching ability and his patience, how he controlled the game.
Yeah, you mentioned like the Steelers Ravens rivalry. Obviously, there's a hatred there. I feel like definitely between like the fan bases, but I always feel like even though it's a rivalry, like you said, there's always been a tremendous amount of respect from the players. You know what I'm saying? Like it's and I think that's probably everywhere, but you look at some of those I know you remember some of those like late 2000s games with Ray Lewis and Hines Ward and Ben, and those games, man, those were like full knockdown, drag out, like you guys getting carted off. I mean, it was a physical game back in the day. That was I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you kind of integrate yourself into that rivalry. But my last question for you, man, I'm gonna give you a little scenario. Let's just say let's say the Steelers are up 3, final preseason game is 3rd and 4. Y'all are trying to milk the clock out, catch a dub. You're gonna get the rock. Tell me how you want the ball. Like what play you want, how you setting it up. It could be run play, pass play, anything you want.
You said 3rd and 4. Okay. All right, so 3rd and 4. I know the team expected a run, so I will go H choice, yeah, I will go H choice. Leave me on the backside with the X receiver. Me coming out the backfield, basically a 2-man concept. And I got the choice route. I can even go out in or sit it down depending on the coverage. So yeah, I would take a choice route on 3rd and 4. The winning game.
Like that a lot. Alfonzo, man, I just want to tell you I appreciate you coming and talk some ball with us again, man.
Appreciate you.
And as far as everybody else, man, we'll be back here in the next couple of days, probably Monday for the next Film Room episode. Make sure that you guys, y'all know the deal. Like the video. Make sure y'all drop me a comment. Make sure y'all go follow not just myself, but Alfonso on Twitter as well. And we will check you guys next time.